Shalom, family trendsetter. I'm out and about, and I figure while I'm sitting here waiting, let me rap with y'all a little bit. Now, I notice like the majority of the videos that I be making, you know what I mean, it's always about serious topics, and very rare you might hear me talk about something a little less serious. But family, yo, we're living in some serious time. Really, nothing for me to water it down and try to make y'all feel good about life, because life is fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing fun about life. So oftentimes, we encounter a situation in our lives and it's like, man, why me? Why am I going through this? But what I want to talk to y'all about, right? Because I believe that the Most High literally is redeeming his people. I believe the situation that occurred in New Jersey happened for a reason, because like I stated in my last couple of videos that now you're going to have a lot of people start to research Black Hebrew Israelite. Even these so-called Jewish people, right? A lot of their children, they follow this religion. According to Trump, now it's a nationality and shit. But, they follow this religion. A lot of them don't even want to do it. A lot of them want to live in a secular world. They want to, be a part of the society, because it's like this religion is boring for them. But they have to do it because of the tradition of man and shit. So I'm sure a lot of them, after they heard about what happened, they're going to Google Black Hebrew Israelite, because that's what they categorize us as, right? Black Hebrew. They got to throw the black part in there and shit. So when you hear them say Black Hebrew Israelite, once you say black, let's disregard them. These niggas is crazy. They delusional, talking about they the real chosen people, because they use the word black. They couldn't just say Hebrew Israelite. You know what I'm saying? But they had to throw the word black in, because when you put that word black into anything, it's always a negative, a negative aspect to it when you use the word black. That's why they say they're according to them, they're white. They're not white. They're red. There's no such thing as a white man. But they use the word white because when you think of white, you think of purity. But anyway, got a lot of these Jewish little youngins and shit. They probably start to research what's going on, and then they might come across, a couple of camps and shit that's on the corner, and they might hear them read out of the Bible, to hear a little bit of this Bible. And let me just say this for the record, right? I do subscribe to the Bible. I just don't believe that that's our record book. I believe a lot of our record is in this book, like the Torah, right? The book of remembrance, the Tanakh. I don't know about the New Testament. That shit is definitely not, that's not a part of our history, okay? Now I know a lot of y'all, Messianic believers believe that Jesus Christ or Yahushua or Yahushai, is God's son. And no, that nigga in the New Testament was a prophet that was sent to the Most High. Acts 5:30 told you what they did to him. They hung him on a tree, just like how they hang niggas, today on trees, right? They hung him on a tree. He was a regular prophet. He came to bring the law, statutes, and commandments back to the proselytes, the one that became like Gentiles, like how we live in America, and we're following after the tradition of America, right? We wear their clothing and we eat their food. It's the same thing. Back then, you had a group of Hebrew, Black Israelite, was following after the Romans and shit, and then you have Christ or Christos or whoever y'all want to refer to him as, but he was a prophet. He had a Hebrew name. Okay, if you want to call him Yahweh Shai or Yeshua. But it's not like how they try to make him seem like, the story that y'all read in the New Testament, that's him. No. Some of the stories, believe it or not, like when he said, I did not come but to the lost sheep of the house of Yasharallah, Israel. Yes, that was him speaking. Okay? When you hear him say the law, he did not come to do away with the law but to fulfill, that was him. But the other shit about, you have to do this, and Paul telling you have to serve Christ and all that, that's not him. Okay, because Paul himself never met Christ, never met the motherfucker, other than the fact that when he said he was on his way to Damascus and he saw this light, and he said to us, this light, Lord. Why did he refer to this light as Lord? Why it couldn't be an angel, or why it couldn't be even Satan himself? Because remember, Satan comes as a bright light. He comes as a light himself. So the fact that he even acknowledged this so-called light that he saw, because it was two different accounts. On one account, he said, "Oh, he saw the light by himself," and the other person, he said, other passage in the New Testament that lied said he was whoever was accompanying him witnessed it as well. Lie, a lot of contradiction. That's why I don't believe in this Bible 100%. So this nigga Paul seen this light and he referred to it as Lord. Lord, oh Lord. Paul or Saul, why are you persecuting me? And Saul, whatever the story. Y'all know the story. So all of a sudden they attribute it to Jesus Christ. Why it can't be Satan? That could have been Satan, because remember one thing, right? Paul was a persecutor of the Jews. He used to be a bounty hunter. And if you really think about it, if Satan really and truly now want to get at the Jews, you can't hunt all the Jews because they spread out. So why not create a fucking religion? Why not create a religion that would destroy, the belief in the Most High power? So in other words, you had a lot of these Jews that was seeking after the Most High power, following the Torah, knew about the Tanakh and shit, right? And Paul was going after them to kill them. And Paul himself said he was a Jew from the tribe of Benjamin. He was from the tribe of Benjamin. He was a Benjamite. So why would he go and kill Jews if he was a Jew himself? See, y'all read the story, but y'all don't even think about the shit that y'all reading. You know what I mean? It's almost like Hitler, right? A lot of people say Hitler was a Jew. But why did Hitler go and kill Jews? If let's say Hitler was a Jew, why would he persecute the Jews? You know why? Because Hitler knew that these motherfuckers was converts. They not the real Jews. Hitler had books showing where you had black Hebrew people. They used to watch movies, family, where it depicts the true Hebrew. And Hitler knew these were perpetrators, but these was fraud. These was the serpent people. These people was referred to as the serpent people everywhere they went. They had a king. I forgot the king name. Everywhere they went, they was expelled from that particular region because they only brought forth death. You know what I'm saying? King, I forgot his name. It's right on the tip of my tongue. You know what I mean? So you had the Ashkenazi Jews and the Khazar Jews. These are serpent people. That's why, I think Lisa Cabrera was talking about that curly shit on their head represent the serpent. And it makes sense. You know what I mean? So what I'm trying to say is this, right? Okay, so you have now Messianic Hebrew believe in Yahweh Shai and Yahusha, and they believe that, okay, he wasn't white, he was black, and and his name wasn't Jesus, his name was Yahweh Shai. But it's the same story. Y'all still reading from the same Greek book, New Testament Greek doctrine given to y'all. Paul, some people say Paul wasn't even a Hebrew. He said he represented himself as a Hebrew from the tribe of Benjamin in the Heliobiblus Bible when you read it. But Paul was doing some crazy shit, because Paul was saying, don't let the law be your schoolmaster. Yes, the law is supposed to be your schoolmaster. That's supposed to guide you. The Most High created the law and he said it was perfect, so it should be your schoolmaster. And then they say, Paul did not come. He only came for the Gentiles, and a lot of these dumbass heathen believe that the Gentile he came for. Because see, I know about the New Testament. When I used to believe in Paul, when I used to be a Messianic believer, I knew that Paul came to the proselytes. He came to the ones that was all those letters he wrote in the Corinth and all these places all over. It was to Hebrews. You know what I'm saying? That was acting like Gentiles. The Northern Kingdom then. You know what I'm saying? I knew all of that, but then even that shit don't make no sense, because Paul contradicts himself. Okay? Paul going to Damascus saw he referred to the light as Lord. Why? It's just a lot of stuff, man. I'm telling you, fam, if I was to really and truly break the shit down in simplistic form, because I'm not very, educated. Like I told you, I'm not no college grad and shit. I'm just a basic nigga, got my degree off the streets. You know what I mean? But anyway, what was I saying? So, okay, yeah. So we have these Christians, right, going to church. And you got a lot of these motherfuckers, right, congregate every Sunday in this one building. But the problem is this, right, for me. Now, when Jesus Christ took on the cup, took the cup, right, the cup that he decided to take on, which is referred to as sin, right? He decided he's going to die for our sin, past, present, and future sin, right? And remember when he was on the cross, when God, because Christianity and shit, they believe that Jesus is God. When God was on the cross, right? When God cried out to himself, saying, Father, Father, why have you forsaken me? Right? And then he said, well, if it be your will. So God, or Jesus, which is God in some cases for Christian, when he cried out to himself, when God forsaked himself on the cross, because he decided to take on iniquity, what's that word? Sin. He decided to take on sin. And God is holy, can't look upon sin. So he turned his back on himself on the cross. I don't know how you do that, but he did it. And the reason why he did it, because he couldn't look upon sin. So let me ask y'all this question, right? Real simple question. And I'm about to hang up the video and shit. If God couldn't look upon his own self, which is his son self, right? because he was bearing the sins of us for us, right? How is it that God, when y'all go to church every Sunday, God is present in that temple where you got a lot of motherfucking sinners? Because I guarantee you, 99% of the people that go to church are sinners. You go to church only because you was a sinner, at least once a sinner, probably still is a sinner. And let's say you go to a church that got 100 people in the church, right? You telling me everybody that's in the church is righteous? Nah, I don't think so. I guarantee at least half of that, let's say even more than half of those people that's going to that church is still sinning. And if that's the case, because I know when I used to go to church, I was still sinning. I remember I told y'all the story. I got baptized 4 times. The fourth time when I got baptized, I was watching the time because I had to go meet a shorty. And mind you, I was involved in a relationship. But I met a new shorty and I had to go meet up with her. And before I met her, I already made the arrangement to be baptized. You know, you got to go to, well, in our church, we had to go to classes and shit, to teach you. I mean, it's so weird, man. It's like, wow. I thought when you want to, anyway. So yeah, I remember. And I'm like, shit. And I know for a fact you had at least one sinner in that church. That was me. Because I couldn't wait to just say whatever I had to say after I got wet and shit as a how they dip you as a dry sinner, you come back up as a wet sinner and shit. That was me in the church. And I know for a fact, the thought that was on my mind, that ass that I was planning on trying to hit, you know what I'm saying? Not the physical, but let me rephrase that shit. That woman that I wanted to have sexual intercourse with, right? I wasn't thinking about no Jesus. All I was doing, I was like, damn, I made an obligation that I was going to do it. In other words, I felt like, okay, if I was baptized in Jesus' name and shit, then Jesus was going to take away my sins. So it was okay for me to go deal with shorty. Because, they said once saved, always saved. That's what they used to tell us in the church and shit. So I say, fuck it, I'm going to get saved and I know I'm good. It's going to cover me for the rest of my life and shit. And that's why I did it. You know what I mean? And I know for a fact, according to the Bible, the Most High, first of all, doesn't dwell in a temple made by man's hand. But I know, according to the New Testament story, that he wasn't dwelling in that church at that moment because my ass was there. And I can guarantee there was a couple of niggas like me in that church that same day. Maybe not, have the same intentions I had, but I'm sure there was some people in there doing some shit too. So I guess what I'm trying to say to y'all family, picture yourself in a big ass mega church with like 20,000, like TD Jakes or TD Snake's church, right? Because that's a snake too, man, a black snake and shit. Picture being in a church full of like 20,000 or more than that. Because, most of these mega churches now, they hold like 50, 100,000 people and shit. Stadium size seating, right? Imagine how many of these fucking sinners are sitting amongst you. You got rapists, you got murderers, you got thieves, you got child molesters, you got pedophiles, you got all type of people in that church because they go to church for one reason and one reason only, to wash away their sins. Because think about when you used to be a Christian. Didn't you go to church if you wasn't forced to go to church? Didn't you go to church because you was doing some shit you wasn't supposed to do? I know I used to go to church because I used to hustle and I needed protection while I was on the corner and shit. And I used to, we need protection from sexual disease. So I know I went to church. But think about it. All these people congregating as sinners. You tell me you got 20,000 motherfuckers in a stadium-sized seating, right? Establishment, building. And you tell me everybody in there is righteous? Get the fuck out of here. Hell no. So I know for a fact that God is not dwelling amongst these so-called Christians every Sunday. Jesus, if he ever existed. Because see, y'all believe because when y'all go to church and the pastor start to give you the feel-good message that Jesus is present, Jesus is in your heart. No, the image that they give you and the shit that they preach to y'all every Sunday, that's what's in your heart. You know what I'm saying? That's what the fuck's going on. Jesus ain't no way around. Y'all never met him because first of all, they said Jesus was resurrected. When Mary and Mac, according to the story, when Mary went to the tomb and shit, the sepulchre, whatever, the stone was rolled away. So you can't say you're gonna find Jesus. Jesus ain't no way around. That's one of the cunningest shit they ever put in the Bible when they said he was resurrected. Cause you can't go looking for proof that he existed because the motherfucker wasn't there. He's gone. You know what I mean? You could go find King Tut's bone and shit. You could find, ancient Egyptian pharaoh's bone, mummified bone, but you cannot find Jesus because they made sure they tell you that motherfucker was risen. You know what I'm saying? I don't know about y'all, but it's a suspect to me. But I just wanted to put that shit out there, family. Be careful when y'all go to these house of worship, man, because you got a whole lot of sinners dwelling amongst, even Pastor himself. You know what I'm saying? And I know for a fact that if there's a whole bunch of motherfucking sinners in that one building, God ain't there. Therefore, I don't need to be there. If God ain't there, I don't want to be there either. And with that, I say shalom.